A U.S. intelligence official told the AP that Russian missiles landed in Poland and killed 2 people. Poland is a NATO member, which means an attack against it could trigger a response from allies. Sen Bob Menendez, chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, told Politico that the Russian missiles landed in an eastern Polish village on Tuesday and killed 2 people. Russia's defense ministry denied responsibility for the attack and said the reports were a deliberate provocation to escalate the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. NATO Secretary-General said NATO is monitoring the situation and allies are closely consulting, adding that it's important for all facts to be established. A population boom made Oregon one of just 6 states to gain a House seat following the 2020 census. The state's population jumped by over 10 in the past decade to over 42 million people, giving it a new congressional district for the first time in 40 years. Democrats won in Oregon's 1st, 3rd and 4th congressional districts, and the GOP held on to Oregon's sprawling 2nd district. AP called the race for Hobbs, who led by over 20,000 votes Monday evening after Arizona officials spent nearly a week tallying every batch of ballots to determine the winner. Hobbs's margin of victory over Lake, a former Phoenix news anchor and a particular favorite of former President Donald Trump, was roughly 1 percentage point lead over Lake. The preliminary Arizona exit polls reinforce this reading. Hobbs beat Lake among independents by a 52-45 margin. Typically, the president's party loses independents by double digits in midterm years. Among self-described moderates, a full 42 of the Arizona electorate, Hobbs won by 20 percentage points. Hobbs will be able to help shape the state's election rules starting next year. She has said she wants to clean up voter rolls by using the National Change of Address database to fund risk-limiting audits for future elections. Texas Rep Henry Cuellar said he received multiple calls from people close to House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, including one current Republican member of the House. House Democratic Caucus Chair Hakeem Jeffries blasted Republicans for having nerve wanting it both ways. The Republican challenger to Democratic Sen Catherine Cortez Masto in Nevada conceded on Tuesday that he lost, issuing statements saying that he won't contest the result but calling mail-in balloting a tactic that tilted the balance. Laxalt called Cortez Masto to congratulate her on her victory. The Associated Press called the race on Saturday, declaring the winner of the race. He complained that Republican turnout on Election Day was significantly lower than expected as we needed to overcome nearly 3 weeks of Democrat-favored mail-in voting. Democratic Sen Mark Kelly's victory in Arizona gave Democrats a 5,049 edge in the Senate. Vice President Kamala Harris's tie-breaking vote, the party will keep control of the chamber no matter the result of a Georgia runoff. Katie Hobbs has won the Arizona governor's race against Trump-backed Republican Kari Lake, AP reported, and will become the first Democrat to win the post since 2006. The win comes as a further rebuke to former President Trump, whose endorsed candidates lost in vital races for governor and control of Congress. Democratic Secretary of State Katie Hobbs defeated Republican Kari Lake in Arizona's race for governor, NBC News projected Monday night. Hobbs' victory is key for Democrats in a presidential battleground state and a rebuke to a prominent election denier. A historic 290,000 early ballots were dropped off on Election Day in Maricopa County, officials said, which had to be processed in a more time-intensive manner that includes signature verification. Lake, a MAGA firebrand and former local newscaster who closely linked her campaign to former President Trump and his false claims of a rigged election in Arizona, ultimately fell short. Democrat Katie Hobbs defeats Republican Kari Lake in race for Arizona governor. The race was one of the most closely watched in the country. The result is a rebuke of Ms. Lake, who has peddled the false claim that Donald Trump won the 2020 U.S. election. Kari Lake's defeat joins the ranks of preeminent Trump-backed election deniers who lost last week. The race to control the House of Representatives remains tight, with Republicans winning 215 seats and Democrats winning 211. Ms. Hobbs called for unity, saying she would work for Arizonans who did not vote for her. Democrats retained control of the Senate and the House has not yet been called. President Biden said the results had sent a strong message around the world that the U.S. is ready to play and wants to remain fully engaged in the world. Arizona Democrat Katie Hobbs elected governor over Trump-backed Republican Kari Lake. Lake was endorsed by former President Donald Trump. Republican Lake spent 22 years at a local Fox. Rep. Sean Casten sits on the House Financial Services Committee, which oversees regulation of cryptocurrency and hedge funds among other matters. The Daily Signal contacted Guarding Against Pandemics seeking comment from Gabe Bankman-Fried about his employment with Casten, but he had not responded as of publication time. The organization planned to spend $128,000 on TV and digital ads in the Washington metropolitan area. The House Financial Services Committee oversees regulation and laws governing cryptocurrency companies such as FTX and hedge funds such as Alameda Research. Sam Bankman-Fried resigned as chief executive officer of FTX on Friday, and the company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in Delaware. The Daily Signal asked Casten spokesperson Jacob Verpillet whether the congressman met with or received donations from FTX or any other cryptocurrency company. The Daily Signal emailed the House Financial Services Committee to ask whether Chairwoman Maxine Waters D. Califf was aware of Gabe Bankman-Fried's employment with Casten and his brother's position leading FTX. We also asked whether committee staff met with representatives of FTX, Alameda Research or any other cryptocurrency companies from January 2019 until now. Waters said she has worked with ranking member Rep. Patrick McHenry RNC to establish a federal framework for stable coins. OSRA nominee, a lifelong Democrat, has over the years taken abuse from the likes of Linda Sarsour, Rashida Tlaib and other Squad members. Although a Muslim, she actually dares to question the double standard the MSM has when reporting on fanatical Islamic violence. She was a close friend of murdered journalist Danny Pearl. Rep. David Scott DGA, age 77, has not been seen in public for weeks, even during his landslide win on Election Day. He is expected to appear on January 3 in Congress to be sworn in as the elected representative for the 13th District of Georgia. Neither Scott's campaign nor his office has posted any reassuring video of Scott on Twitter or Facebook. Former Fox 10 Phoenix anchor of 22 years appeared to be one of the top Republican candidates in the country. Her loss comes after she led in the vast majority of polls that were posted to 538's website in lead-up to election. Rep. Henry Cuellar reportedly rejected calls to switch parties over the weekend to see if he would switch parties. The move would have increased what is projected to be a small Republican majority in the House of Representatives. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy won his party's nomination to run for Speaker of the House.